Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord.
In the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, asking, "Where is the child who has been born King of the Jews? For we observed his star at rising and have come to pay him homage." When King Herod heard this, he was frightened, and all Jerusalem with him. And calling together with all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. They told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for so it has been written by the prophet, and you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For from you shall come a ruler, who is to shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod secretly called for the wise men and learned from them the exact time when the star had appeared. Then he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search diligently for the child. And when you have found him, bring me word so that I may also go and pay homage." When they had heard the king, they set out, and there ahead of them went the star that had seen at its rising, until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. On entering the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. Then opening their treasure chests, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left for their own country by another road. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, O Christ.
You may be seated. So the Magi were stargazers, and they had gathered enough information and understanding that the star that they saw was significant and that it was marking a new king that had been born in this place. And so the Magi were calculated and researched and inspired, and they went on their road to find out and to discover this king. But even though they were calculated and they were inspired and they had a plan to follow this star map, they still got a little lost and had to ask for directions. And they asked for directions no less from King Herod. And so King Herod was there, and we know the story. They said, "Where is this child who has been born King of the Jews? For we observed the star at its rising and have come to pay homage." And we know that Herod was frightened and anxious about this. He called other leaders in. I'm sorry about my microphone right now. We're working at it. He called other leaders to come and to help with these directions that the Magi were looking for. But the Magi were not aimlessly wandering. They didn't just take out a map and close their eyes and point to a place to go. They had direction. I actually have a little bit of a side story to tell about that. I actually knew of a congregation member who did that. At First United in Sheboygan, there was a person who took out the yellow pages and closed their eye and pointed and came to First United Lutheran. I didn't tell them the last service, but she was actually Pentecostal. But we made it work, and so it was really kind of interesting. Anyway, I don't advise that you do that. That's what happened to her. But it would be kind of fun to think about if you had the time to take an old-fashioned map and close your eyes and point to a place and just go on that adventure. Anyway, so we have these Magi who focused on the star to get to the king, and they walked together, led together, and inspired together by their knowledge of stars. They use that star as a map. We have lots of different maps now,
I'm not sure how many people use an atlas anymore or a paper map, but I know there are people who do. And there still are probably people who use MapQuest on the computer. They print out all their directions on where they need to go, and that's great. But a lot of people now are using GPS, a gadget, or an app. My actually favorite app right now is Waze. Raise your hand if you know what that is. Some of you, yeah. And I like Waze because it connects you with other people. And these people will tell you if there are hazards in the road or things happening or traffic is getting busy. But actually what I like the best about it is, truth be told, is that it tells you if there's a police officer coming. Maps are definitely different these days, but they are about guiding us and leading us and giving us direction. So we have security in that. Maps were the topic of a podcast that I was listening to this past week. And the podcast was the podcast name was How to Money. And they were talking about having a roadmap for finances, so a money roadmap. They talked about an overarching plan or a process for your money. The idea was to think bigger, have a bigger mindset of how you want to change your course when it comes to your personal financing. As I was listening to their talking about a financial roadmap, I couldn't help but think, what would it be like to have a faith roadmap? So at this time of year, many of us, we know, are doing the Whole30 diet or plan, and we have people for trying to get back in shape and get to the weight they want to be, and we have people who are doing their finances at this time of year, but we don't always think about how we are called or think about our own faith and make a roadmap for our faith. And so that's what I was thinking about, and as the talk show hosts were talking, Joel and Matt, they each time they said money or finance, in my mind I put the words faith or life. So here are some examples. Instead of you specifically, your specific direction in money is going to look different than others, I thought your specific faith is going to look different than others. And instead of, to help you figure out how to create that money roadmap so that you have a direction in your finances as you begin the new year, I thought, to help you figure out how to create that faith roadmap so that you have direction in your life as you begin this new year. And one more example. Instead of your money roadmap gives you freedom to spend, your faith roadmap gives you freedom to live. Of course, a money roadmap is looking at how you are spending and saving your money. But what about considering this year how you practice and live out your faith? What new ways you might want to live out your faith? What ways you might share it? What ways you might live in gratitude for it, for this gift of new life in Jesus Christ. And then I got to thinking deeper about these thoughts, about a faith roadmap. It got me to think about those hurt and natural disasters, violence, abuse, injustice, and mental health issues. And we often say, you are in our thoughts and prayers, which are really good. But I wonder if we look at a faith roadmap, if there is a way to put on our roadmap taking those thoughts and prayers into action. The Magi knew their knowledge and inspiration and hit the road to follow that star, to meet the new king. But they didn't do it alone. They walked together to find this king. But also at the end of our reading, we hear that even through their dream, they were guided on where to go and told to go a different road, a warning of a road that might be dangerous. It was emphasized in the show that you should not do a financial roadmap alone. You should talk with your partner or your family or friends or maybe be a part of a class so that you have support when the road gets bumpy, or you have accountability so you're following through with the things that you've committed to. I think that is the same for us in a faith roadmap, that we do need a community. We do need to talk with our partners or our friends or families about our faith to keep it alive, especially in those times when we hit bumpy roads, when we do need the support of others, but also to help us, hold us accountable. The podcast goes on to talk about small incremental changes can have a huge impact over time. To keep it simple, that this does not have to be a major monumental effort, progress, not a miracle. Don't overcomplicate things. Of course, this is good advice for financing, but I think it's an interesting way to think about our own faith map, our faith journey. For some of us right now, we might be on a road that we're going down a dead end. And for others of us, we might be on a dangerous road. But for all of us, I think it would be helpful for us, whether it is a week at a time, to think about our faith map journey. How is it that we're called, and how will we exercise that faith of new life that's been given to us and the gratitude for that? The Magi, through their joy of stars, were led on a road to see the babe, Jesus, lying in the manger. What if we took time this year to think about the gifts that bring us joy and incorporated that into our faith roadmap? What if we looked at how we are called? What if we made goals for our faith journey? May your gifts that bring you joy lead you to Jesus in new ways this year. May you be inspired in your thoughts and prayers to put them into action. And may you know that God's love is unconditional, and God is hoping for you to discover God. Amen.